Hello, welcome to AEC Unplugged. I'm your host, Danielle Gray. I currently serve as the Director of Content and Knowledge Resources here at SMPS HQ. So thank you so much for joining us here today. If you've never joined AEC Unplugged before, we are about insights, trends. We are all things AEC industry, especially as it relates to marketing professionals and business developers. Um, but we are here to talk about all those things while also having a very human approach. The whole point is to really um, learn about our thought leaders in a more intimate way and really be connected. If you want to look at older episodes, we're in season 3 already. So we're excited about that. But please go to YouTube, SMPS YouTube. There's a playlist, AEC Unplugged. You'll see tons of videos from everything from professional networking to wellness to AI to everything. And so I'm really excited for you all to be able to watch those episodes if you haven't already. That's what we'll that's where we are. So thank you so much for joining. Again, this is about community. So if you are joining live, please let us know in the comments. Let us know where you're joining in from. We love to see that. All right, so today we're going to be talking about Trailblazing AI for AEC. But before we do that, I do want to share some of the upcoming programming that we have coming up. So one is if you have not heard about the new industry trends report, Building Resilience, AEC's Path Beyond 2025. This is powered by SMPS Foundation. Strongly recommend to download that from our bookstore. And then we also have an on-demand webinar that did really, really well. So if you missed it, it's still available on demand and very, very relevant. It just happened a couple of weeks ago. So this is proposal differentiation, standing out in the sea of same. Then upcoming, so this month, can you believe it's June? Wow. June 26th, we have Blueprint for Impactful Events, turning every gathering into a growth engine, with probably some people that you're familiar with, Nicole, Bernice, and Ruth. Bernice is actually a past society president, so she knows a thing or two about these things. So we're excited to have this trio here, June 26th. July 24th, we are going beyond charts and graphs, inspire action with data visualizations with Tully from Paige. Her title is storyteller, which I think is great within the AEC industry. So you definitely want to join that session. And then we have a upcoming town hall. This is in June as well. It's a Pride Talk for AEC marketers, marketing integrity and allyship, June 25th. That's connected to our human experience town halls. And then we have Q2 AI Quarterly Insight Report. It's a 76-page report, but luckily we use AI to create an audio report. So if you don't want to read all the 76 pages, we do have a report for you. This is all about the insights that we're getting from Q2. And by the way, Q3 report is on the way. So by the end of this month, we'll be ready for Q3 report. And thank you to the SMPS Foundation for that. And then it's the big one, Amplify AEC, August 6th through the 8th in Columbus, Ohio. If you don't make any SMPS conference, and if you make them all, you must make sure to join us in person in Columbus, Ohio, August 6th through the 8th. Be sure to register now, amplifyaec.org. We have Jenny's Ice Cream, Jenny from Jenny's Ice Cream closing. We've got Alex Sheen. We have a lot of great speakers, so please be sure to register for that. We're only 60 something days away, so we're almost there. And then finally, we are repeating our AEC.ai conference, which is an in-person hands on, computers out, going through things in real time, October 9th through the 10th. And this is going to be in Denver. We've already done one this year earlier. It went amazingly well. It was in DC. We're doing our West Coast version, which is going to be in Denver, October 9th to the 10th. So be sure to register for that as well. Now, all of that said, thank you for listening to all my promos and my excitement about AEC Unplugged. But for today, we are actually going to bring on our guest. This is Trailblazing for AI for AEC with Rohan Jawali from Joist AI. Welcome, Rohan. It's good to see you.
Likewise, I'm super excited and happy to be here, as always.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say for everyone that's watching, Rohan is uh, officially this he is the first person to be on AEC Unplugged twice, so that's a big deal. You are a repeat thought leader, so I mean that's a big deal. I wish I could give you a trophy for that.
I need to
I feel like it's a
fire a
big
badge.
yes. So, no, it's great to talk with you about this, and I always love talking to you about AI because we're talking about AI, but we're never talking about AI with you. You're like, I don't really even. I know I have to say AI, but it's always feels so real for you. But before we get into that, I want to know how the heck did you get in AEC industry? Because everybody has their very interesting way to get where they are right now.
Yeah, I mean it's a long journey in
Hmm.
industry. Like my dad actually is a contractor, so I grew up in India. Grew up on job sites, essentially helping him out, helping him through all his endeavors, right? So when it came to career choice, my family wanted me to be a doctor, whereas I was like, I want to be a builder.
Hmm.
And so I picked up civil engineering and did my undergrad, my master's from Texas A&M in construction management, and essentially joined Hinsa Phelps as a with on a project. And I was super lucky in a way working at Hinsa Phelps because I got an experience where I was able to do a variety of things outside my job description, more like an entrepreneur role, which gave me a pretty interesting insight into pretty much all aspects of the business in general. So that's essentially a story, like 15-year story in few words.
Right. No, it was good. It was good. I mean, you took us through, and I think it's really interesting how you've made your way into this space. So the next question I have for you, because we're talking about we these sessions are very short, sweet, live. So I want to get to the meat of it, which is we talk about trailblazing AI for AEC. And when we talked about this topic, we were trying to figure out what topic we should start with. And I think this was so interesting to think about AEC marketers as the first to adopt AI. So, why do you think that is?
No, I mean, this is pretty interesting topic, right? Because that's something we have started to realize across the board. Pretty much every organization, marketing and sales functions are coming to the surface, to the table at the leadership level, that hey, these are the people that are actually successfully implementing AI in the business, because there is a tangible ROI at the end of the day, which is revenue, right?
Mhm,
If you think about the norm of like the growth marketing, growth marketers or proposals or marketing or BD, however you want to term this, um, the teams typically are under pressure all the time. They're always chasing deadlines. They're very lean when it comes to resources, right? They're always lean from staffing perspective, and they have a we have a pretty weird norm in our industry where proposals are equals to marketing slash BD slash sales, right?
mhm,
The leadership thinks these functions are all they do is proposals. So that's one aspect. The second aspect I feel is um, the ROI is pretty evident, pretty visible, because at the end of the day, everything that these teams do converts to new money from the business perspective. And third thing that I'm finding, which is pretty interesting, is these marketing teams slash BD teams are very structured, very organized. They have a clear line of communication going on. So all these factors combined, the AI implementation often ends into a successful outcomes for businesses. And if that's the only successful outcome you have, then you have essentially a strategic seat on the table with the leadership, right? So that essentially is giving a lot of push from from every angle towards marketing leadership, in my opinion, and which is an interesting trend that we are seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally believe it. As I think sometimes the marketers are kind of the trendsetters, the culture starters within a firm, so it makes sense. So, how is this early AI leadership changing the role of marketing inside of AEC firms?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally it's kind of looked at it as an overhead, right? Execution, execution, execution. Now you're essentially switching the context, you're switching the roles to a more strategic role. So you're essentially getting the seat on the table, because marketing teams weren't always part of the strategic conversations until now. But now, since they are leading the adoption from AI perspective, they're being invited to a lot of leadership meetings and executive meetings to really talk about, hey, let's walk through how you've done this successfully, what it like from an education perspective, from adoption perspective, from implementation perspective. Let's share the lessons learned and figure out what we can do across different business operations to really spread the lessons. We heard this quite frequently, in the sense like, hey, we have this leadership retreat going on and I'm invited to the retreat because the C suite wants to hear about our experience, which is pretty
Mhm.
cool, right?
Yeah,
Now, that's where I feel like they're no longer just the proposal team, or just the team that executes, but they're actually innovating on the front lines. And here's a pretty interesting thing to think about is, if 10 years ago, if somebody had told you that, hey, there's going to be this new shiny technology showing up in our industry, and marketing teams are going to be on the front lines executing and successfully demonstrating the ROI, nobody would have believed that.
absolutely. Yeah.
But here we are, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And I've seen that from my personal experience as well, because part of my role at Hensa First was finding technology, sourcing tech, sourcing startups, and implementing those across the board. And it's a really hard thing to really scale new tech, implement new tech at a corporate level, at enterprise level. But
mhm.
I've seen marketing teams do that very successfully in a shorter time periods with tangible ROIs.
And I think that's really interesting when you talk about it, because a lot of what we've been talking about within S&PS, because we're all about lifelong learning, helping marketers, business developers to be have the tools to be able to have these conversations and be ready to be strategic parts of the team. So that's really exciting that for those watching, proposals, yes, that's a thing, but I really see there's a big opportunity for marketers specifically. So, what advice do you have for marketers who want to use AI to claim a more strategic seat at the table?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the more like first principles in a way. Like, don't chase AI for as a solution because it exists. Go deeper, take a deeper look into the problems that you have as a business. Because what I've seen is, a lot of teams across the industry are very structured. They have very well set, defined ways of doing certain things certain way. So take a deeper look into your workflows, your processes,
Mhm,
find the pain points and the problems, and then find the solutions. So once you have a good understanding of the problems, then chase the solutions. That will have a really successful outcome at the end of the day. A lot of times what we do is the other way. Like, as an engineer, that's what I was trained on, like
mhm,
solutions, right?
mhm.
But sometimes you have to take a step back and figure out the problems, really understand the business, understand the problems, understand the ROI, and then start chasing the solutions. So that's definitely one advice I would give. Number two is, like, and this is really interesting because AEC AI, I think Chris has done a really good job with training the society with prompting and AI in general. Where I feel a lot of times what happens, I might go super deep into this, so pull me back.
Yeah, please. No, please do. We got
Um,
time.
so what happens is, a lot of times people try something like with AI, ask a question, it might not render the results that they were expecting, and they give up with a white flag, right? It's a lot of experimentation and back and forth that they have to do. That trust building takes time, number one. And
Mhm,
number two, what I've also seen, and this is a new pattern that I'm seeing with a lot of folks, is um, individuals are not trained on delegating certain things to others. And if they're not fundamentally, they're not going to trust AI as well, because what you're doing with AI is basically going back and forth as a collaboration. And if
mhm,
you're not using AI from a collaboration perspective, like trust AI from a collaboration perspective, you're not going to essentially use the tools you have at your disposal. So that's more of a human element that we are seeing as well. So it's a combination of things where I feel marketers need to certain individuals are really good when it comes to
Mhm.
using AI, and certain individuals are not really getting caught up with using AI. And there are certain mental blocks that they have to essentially pass through to adopt. But at the end of the day, everybody has to use AI moving forward in the future, right? Uh,
Right.
so those are the things that people have to think about when it comes to using AI. But that's the advice I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really interesting how you talked about, focusing on the pain points. Where do we need help, and then find the solution for that. And really, as marketers, that's what we're doing externally anyway. What are the pain points? What do we need to be speaking to, and then be able to communicate those solutions. So hopefully, and maybe that's why also marketing is at the front edge of this and trailblazing AI, because this is kind of our process in the first place, is figuring out the problems and then the solutions.
And you know what the fun part is? If you think about prompting, what is
Mhm.
prompting, right? Effectively communicating what you're trying to do to the LLMs.
Mhm.
And who are the best audience that know how to communicate the best?
Right. Right. No, it makes sense. I mean, I mean, the more we're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, marketers are totally set up to be at the front end of this, and I hope those that are watching are excited for that opportunity. I mean, I know it can feel like a lot, but I think there's something to it. So that leads me to the next question, which is, where do you see the intersection of AI, marketing, and revenue strategy heading over, let's say, the next year, 5 years?
So this is really good question. If you think about AI right now, when you think AI, everybody thinks as chat. Let me
Mhm.
ask a
Right.
question, let me get a response.
Yeah.
That's the common understanding, and which is right. But one thing that I will start to realize is there's a lot of more use cases that you can apply AI in general to our workflows that are outside chat in general. And that's where I feel like AI is going to start showing up really well in next 5 years. Now, what I mean by that, right? If you think about the science of winning a project, right? If there's a project popping up in San Diego, your team in San Diego is going to know that client really well, that who are the right people to go execute that project, who are the right partners to work with on that project, what experience you have. So there is a recipe to go win that project. Now every project type, every client has a recipe, right?
Right.
So how do you essentially start figuring out those recipe and start scaling up those recipes across the enterprise is a really good use case if you think about it. So those are the use cases that AI will start unlocking for us as we move forward, which also means that a lot of our decisions are going to be unlocked with data. Now, traditionally, if you think about our industry, why AI has been successful in our industry, specifically for marketing use cases, in my opinion, is that entire problem was essentially neglected for decades, right? The process of making proposals hasn't really changed since InDesign came out in a way.
Right.
So now it's a perfect storm where AI is essentially not only allowing people to eliminate hunting and pecking, like we are seeing people improve the efficiency like 40% uh, zone, which is amazing. But
Mhm.
also beyond that, this it's the recipes, it's the formula, it's the data that is going to provide to make the decisions at the right time. So I do feel like in next 5 years we'll see data powered, data centric decision making process come to life in a really reliable, predictable way, which also means predictable growth for organizations.
Right, right. There's so you said so many things. I had so many different thoughts in my head, and I'm like, there is. I mean, and it's so interesting when we were at the AEC AI. It's so funny every time and this is Christopher Penn. That have attended, he'll put up slides and say this will expire like within like 6 weeks, or something, and it might be even shorter because everybody laughs like it changes so quickly. So a year and 5 years is such a
Oh,
big,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
I've seen this firsthand,
Yeah.
Danielle, because when we started building Joist, the LLMs or AI didn't really exist, right? So
Mhm.
from that point to now, we have essentially changed ourselves, like adapted ourselves like 3 times I can think of,
Wow.
which is
Uh-huh.
basically means you're changing the wings when you're flying,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the that's what you need to keep up with the velocity in AI, and that also makes us like why we're on the forefront of the
Mhm.
innovation.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's not hard, right? You're doing it. You're not sweating at all that you've only made all these different pivots. But I think that also, if we're talking about innovation, if we're talking about those things, that is what makes. And my experience with you personally is that that's what makes you an innovator. You know, like being able to adjust, because we know, especially within this industry, we've done it this way, we've done it this way, and AI is completely blowing all of that away. Totally, to be we have to be able to stay up. We have to stay up on trends and so on, to stay relevant, I guess.
It's actually funny you mentioned that because
Mhm.
it reminded me of the moment when I told one of my mentors when I decided to leave my job,
Uh-huh.
hey, I'm gonna go pursue a career, trying to automate workflows with proposals. And he was like, "Are you crazy? Number
Yeah, of
one, why are
course.
you chasing a career into marketing and proposals? And number two, this is impossible. You can't do that."
Right.
From that to now, it's completely different because AI is changing the processes so well.
Well, you saw it. You saw it, and I completely applaud that. I think it's really awesome. It's really awesome. So, before we close here, I always love to leave room for words of wisdom. We've talked about so many different things, but I'd love to hear what words of wisdom you like to share with our audience today.
Yeah, I mean, from words of wisdom, there are so many things that come to mind right now.
Sure.
But again, it goes back to find pain points and problems, understand the processes. One of my mentors on my first week at work, first real job, told
Mhm.
me is like, Rohan, look, there are tools and processes. Learn the processes and then figure out the tools. You'll be far more successful in your career, right? Which was very true. So understand your processes, understand your business problems, understand the outcomes, the ROI, get the buy-in, and then figure out the solutions is number one advice I always give
Mhm.
my own experience. Number two, when it comes to AI, like don't be scared, experiment, try, collaborate with AI. It's a human AI collaboration that's always going to be consistent as we move forward. And there is a underlying fear in a lot of people's mind that AI is going to replace my job, right? It still exists even now. Is it true or false, right? It's true in a way because in my opinion, what's going to happen is every job, if you think about a job, what is a job? It's a list of responsibilities and tasks assigned to an individual. So what's going to happen moving forward is some of the tasks on your job are going to get automated, which
Mhm.
also frees up your time. So don't be scared if some of the tasks are automated, which also means that you can do more strategic and meaningful tasks on your plate and have the seat on the table. As a marketing professional, as a growth professional, we already have seen a pattern where they're getting seat on the table. So if you don't have that voice, you don't have seat on the table when it comes to AI committees, AI implementation, being a thought leader within an organization, demand it because you're the right person to do it.
That's so great. I loved every bit of those. And I think the big thing is, being open to try new things, because this is the age we're in. Don't be afraid. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's important that we do it. So
We have seen this meme like 100 times already. Like, if
Mhm.
you're not using AI, somebody with AI will essentially
Yeah,
beat you out.
exactly. So what are we gonna do, everyone? We just we gotta take it in. So thank you so much, Rohan, for joining AEC Unplugged today. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me again. And
thank
until next time.
thank you, thank you. Awesome. So, look, that was another awesome episode. I'm still downloading quite a few of the things that I heard from Rohan today. Something that's really coming up for me is one of my favorite quotes is write your goal in pen and your strategy in pencil. My dad taught me that very, very early on, and I think that this is what and how I see AI playing this role is we still have the same goals. There just may be some different ways and different strategies for us to get there. So I think that's great. So before we go, though, I do want to share about our upcoming programming really quickly. Make sure to download the Building Resilience Industry Report powered by SMPS Foundation. We also have an on-demand webinar that we strongly recommend proposal differentiation, especially as we're talking about these things. Um, Upcoming webinar, June 26th this month, Blueprint for Impactful Events, Turning Every Gathering into a Growth Engine. July 24th, we have Beyond Charts and Graphs Inspire Action with Data Visualizations. And then we also have an upcoming town hall that is also this month, June 25th, a Pride Talk for AEC marketers, the Human Experience Town Hall. And we've been talking about trends, we've been talking about insights. If you haven't already, all members, S&PS members, get this for free. So you can download this report, the 76-page report, audio report, highlights, FAQs, all the different things. It's yours. Okay. And then finally, well, we have one more after this, but Amplify AEC, our biggest conference of the year. Be sure to register if you haven't already. We will be in Columbus, Ohio. We will have Jenny from Jenny's Ice Cream. We will have, I mean, I'm clearly excited about that part. But there's going to be so many great thought leaders all and through Columbus. So please be sure to register today. And then finally, we have AEC.ai. We've just talked about AI. We have an in-person experience October 9th and the 10th. Laptops out, really learning AI, and that's going to be in Denver, Colorado. So that's going to be a good time. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining. As always, I hope if this did not inspire you to be something different, I hope it inspired you to do something different. Thank you for joining, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye.